issue is fixed. I was having a little bit of issues earlier right there, but the issue is fixed. Mic is hot. All right, guys, we are live with another one, okay? Live with another one. All right, welcome to the channel. This is OE MMA TV. I'm your host, OE. Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It takes minimal effort to give me the thumbs up, so you might as well do it. Thank you for supporting independent MMA media, guys. And like I always say, this is your channel, the only channel where the fans come first, not last. All right, guys. Topic of discussion today, guys. Where's my bell, man? Where the hell is... Guys, it is Tony time, guys. Tony Ferguson just finished beating Salt Papi. I am so happy about this, guys. I am so happy about this. At least Tony Ferguson didn't go in there, and then he didn't get beat to a pulp. All right, he didn't get knocked out like Luke Rockhold did. But we'll talk about that. Okay, we'll talk about that a little later. All right, but let's stay right here, guys. Let's enjoy this Tony Ferguson win, guys. Tony Ferguson early on in the fight, he wasn't looking that good. When it comes to Salt Papi, it looked like he was a cleaner boxer. He had more crisp when it came to landing the punches. But over time, Tony Ferguson, basically put that pace on Salt Papi. And let me tell you something. Tony Ferguson made him basically melt in that third round and started landing multiple combinations on Salt Papi. And Tony Ferguson just started going in, with unanswered punches. It was about maybe 15 to 18 landed combinations for Tony Ferguson, and the referee had to go in and save Salt Papi from Tony Ferguson. Guys, I am ecstatic that Tony Ferguson was able to finally get a dub. Okay, it's been 6 years, guys. Okay, it's been 6 years since Tony Ferguson finally got a dub. Okay, and here it is. All right, in his boxing debut, Tony Ferguson is undefeated, guys. He is 1-0, okay, in his boxing debut right now, and it was against a credible boxer, okay, who's already been in the game in Salt Papi. He's already had multiple pro fights. So when it comes to Tony Ferguson, congratulations. Guys, congratulations to Tony Ferguson, man. Okay, I honestly did not want to see Tony Ferguson compete in anything that had to do with combat sports in general. Okay, in general. But here we are. Here we are, guys. Tony Ferguson getting this dub against Salt Papi 6 years, later. Finally, guys, finally. I am so happy that Tony Ferguson was able to get this dub, guys. I'm ecstatic. Okay, I am ecstatic about this. Well deserved for Tony Ferguson. Man, I mean, I don't know what else to say, man. I really don't know what else to say. I am totally happy for Tony Ferguson. Hopefully, I don't know if he's going to continue, competing. Obviously, if he got the bag, most likely he's going to still compete. I just wonder who's going to be Tony Ferguson's next opponent. Hopefully, these are going to be, good matches for Tony Ferguson, because as it stands right now, this was a good match for Tony Ferguson when it comes to Salt Papi. And, like I said, Tony Ferguson came in there ready. He came in there ready, and he made Salt Papi melt in that third round. So congratulations to Tony Ferguson once again, guys. Congratulations to Tony Ferguson once again, guys. I am so happy for the guy. One of my favorite fighters. Okay, one of my favorite fighters finally getting a dub. But guys, like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, okay? Support the community, run up these likes, run up these subscriptions. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. But moving on from Tony Ferguson, even though I want to stay right there just because, man, it's been so long since I've seen Tony Ferguson with his hand raised. And finally, man, it took 6 years, but finally we got Tony Ferguson getting a dub. And I am totally just happy for him, man. But let's talk about Dillon Danis, guys. Let's talk about Dillon Danis getting his getting a dub as well. All right, Dylan Dennis getting a dub as well, guys. All right, totally impressive in my opinion. He went in there and got a submission in 15 seconds, guys. A quick submission, made quick work of his opponent. All right, it was easy. Dylan Dennis showed why he's a submission specialist, a submission specialist, excuse me, when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he submitted his opponent in 15 seconds, in less than 15 seconds, to be honest with you. It was a quick fight. Had him in I believe in a mounted guillotine, something like that. Ended up finishing him later on with with that submission. I mean, guys, easy win for Dylan Dennis. Congratulations to him as well. It was a good night of fights. It was a good night of fights for these gentlemen. All right, especially for the winners, Dylan Dennis, Tony Ferguson, and guys. We have to talk about Darren Till, guys. Darren Till going in there and just landing combinations on Luke Rockhold, dropped him in the first round. All right, and he couldn't make it to the third, guys. Okay, Luke Rockhold, or should I say Rockhold? Okay, Luke Rockhold. Okay, could not make it to the third round, guys. Darren Till was landing combinations at will, and let me tell you something. Luke Rockhold had no answer. Okay, Luke Rockhold had no answer. Point blank, period. Darren Till was throwing everything and the kitchen sink, guys. I'm talking hooks, straights, jabs, uppercuts, landing it all. You know what I mean? Until the second round came around, and that was it. You know what I mean? That was it. Multiple combinations. Luke Rockhold fell down to the ground, crippled, and just fell right to sleep, guys. Fell right to sleep. All right. Luke Rockhold look. He basically looked like he took a beating from Rampage Jackson's son. He was sleeping as well. He most likely he's gonna need a GoFundMe after that beating. Okay. Oh my God! I'm speaking facts, guys. Okay, I am speaking facts. Luke Rockhold, he's gonna need a GoFundMe account after this beating that Darren Till put him on, put on him. So we got to start that. Okay, let's go ahead and start a GoFundMe account for Luke Rockhold. It's gonna be a comeback story of the year. You know what I mean? Because let me tell you something. That was a beating. Darren Till, he landed every combination that you could even think of. And Luke Rockhold had no answer, guys. No answer. All right. So congratulations, guys. Congratulations to Tony Ferguson, finally getting a dub. Congratulations to Dylan Dennis. Okay. Getting a dub as well. And congratulations to Darren Till for getting such a vicious KO. Tony Ferguson does get a TKO as well. And Dylan Dennis gets a 15-second submission. I mean, the guys came out, guys. The guys came out to play, to be real. All right, everybody came out to play. So congratulations to those men. With no UFC happening, this was a good night of fights, to be honest with you. Good night of fights. No UFC happening though, but it was a good night of fights. Okay, it was a good night of fights. And I did make a UFC. What was it? I made oh yeah, there it is. Yesterday I went live and I made my UFC White House card. If you guys haven't watched that, it's very interesting. Okay, very interesting. But yeah, no UFC this weekend, so this was a good night of fights for those guys. Next weekend we do have Imarov versus Kayo. Should be a good night of fights. I will be going live for that event. Excuse me. As it stands right now, I am 191 and 129. That is 191 wins and 129 losses when it comes to my UFC fight predictions for 2025. So we definitely got more dubs than L's. So we definitely got to continue that. But yeah, guys, I mean, I am happy. I am happy for Tony Ferguson, man. I am happy for Tony Ferguson, to be honest with you. Like I said, early on in the fight, it looked like Saul Poppy had had the better, combinations, had more crisp, punches. But Tony Ferguson, like I said, he put that pace on him. And he never, he never wavered. Yeah, he was hit with some, clean combinations, but Tony Ferguson stood in the fight. He wasn't afraid to stand in the fire, and he was landing some, combinations as well until that third round came around, and Tony Ferguson just put it on him, and he was able to get that TKO. Man, I am so happy for Tony Ferguson, man. For a guy that's been through so much, you know what I mean? He's been through so much, man. Tony Ferguson was at the highest of the highs when we talking about his mixed martial arts career in the UFC. We're talking about a guy that was supposed to fight, Khabib Nurmagomedov about 5 times, but unfortunately, it fell off. It fell off all 5 times. You know what I mean? Whether it was Tony Ferguson getting injured or Khabib Nurmagomedov having complications as well. So that fight never happened. But Tony Ferguson, did become the interim, title holder in that lightweight division. Tony Ferguson did some great things. 12-fight winning streak in the UFC. And then um, and then COVID came. You know what I mean? COVID came, and unfortunately, Tony Ferguson, he lost weight twice. He lost weight twice for one camp. I mean, it's unheard of. I mean, it's hard enough to make weight once, and then you're gonna make weight again. In a later date. It just doesn't make sense. And that's when Tony Ferguson ended up taking his first L in a long time against Justin Gaethje. And ever since that fight, I haven't even watched Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje. To be honest with you, I watched that fight live when it happened, and I haven't watched it since. Because Tony Ferguson is one of my favorite fighters, and watching that fight was brutal. It was brutal in my opinion. So I haven't watched that fight since then. And ever since then, man, Tony Ferguson, he just hasn't been the same. He just hasn't been the same. He's been hit with his age and his style of fighting. To be honest with you, is very hard to, compete at a high level. He has a different type of style of fighting where he puts on, he puts that pace on you. But he does take a lot of damage as well, and he's taken a lot of damage throughout his career. But big ups to Tony Ferguson, man. He's been through it all. Like I said, the highest of highs, and now he finds himself here, getting this dub 6 years later against a formidable opponent, to be honest with you. So congratulations to Tony, man. But I'm really impressed with Darren Till. I mean, I knew that was going to happen to Luke Rockhold. I'm calling him Luke Rockhold because the guy, he should not be fighting either. All right. I mean, when you're getting your teeth knocked out and getting knocked out like that, like Darren Till put you to sleep, you should reevaluate your career. You should reevaluate what you're doing for a living, to be honest with you, before you get any more CTE and you just, you don't have the ability to think and talk, you know what I mean, anymore, So please, somebody sit down with Luke Rockhold and protect the guy. All right. But yeah, guys, like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, okay? Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It takes minimal effort to give me the thumbs up, so you might as well do it, guys. All right, support the community. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. But that's the story. That is the story of today. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, there's really nothing else going on this weekend. I know there's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match happening today. I believe it is. I'm not sure if it's today or tonight. I'm not sure. But I know I'll be taking a peek at it, seeing what's going on with that. But yeah, guys, that's about it. That is about it. All right, just wanted to get on here really fast and talk about the Tony Ferguson win and talk about the Dillon Danis win, 15-second sub, and of course Darren Till getting that KO on Luke Rockhold, and hopefully somebody sits down, like I said, with Luke Rockhold and have a conversation with the guy, because that was a vicious KO by Darren Till, man. Like I said, he landed multiple combinations on Luke Rockhold, and Luke Rockhold could not do anything, like anything. He could not even protect himself, to be honest with you. But yeah, next weekend, Imavov versus Caio. Huge implications. Excuse me. With that fight, okay, we're gonna see who's gonna fight Chimaev next in that middleweight division. We shall see. We do have Reino de Ridder versus Anthony Hernandez later on this year in October. Okay, but first is Emerald versus Kaio. We shall see, who takes this fight. I am going to give my UFC fight predictions most likely Monday morning, so stay tuned for that, guys. But like I always say, guys, this is your channel, okay? The only channel where the fans come first, not last. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Until next time, peace, one love.